I expressed to you that I was trying to continue getting to know Mica a little bit more, whilst also trying to be respectful to you and your feelings because I care about you. So yeah, we had a kiss outside of the challenge last night, and I would like the opportunity just to go to bed with her, share a bed. Because now the only option I have is take her to the hideaway.
So that's what you want to do?
It's an option.
I'm going to trust my gut and say no.
Okay, fairs.
It's not that I don't want to share a bed with you. I do, but I just feel like this isn't right. And it's not your fault. I'm not saying this to make you bad. And I understand. I really appreciate that you feel that way and you want to do that. Because I want to explore, but I'm like, it's a lot.
It's a lot, yeah. I put you in a tough predicament, and obviously I appreciate you being honest.
Yeah, I still want to get to know you. I also don't want you to ruin a good thing with that. Because I'm still very much... I'm unsure as well. I'm happy getting to know you.
Yeah.
Hello?
Sorry, I'm listening.
I'm happy getting to know you.
Yeah.
But I'm still very much I don't know where my head's at with you. I'm enjoying it, and I just want to see...
I could tell that. I could tell.
I'm not a fucking head first jumping crazy don't think person.
But you're saying that I am though?
No.
Yeah.
Never said that.
Fairs.
So I just feel like I'm going to trust my gut.
That's all good. I respect it. Yeah.
Doesn't mean I still don't want to talk with you.
Of course.
I really like speaking with you, and we can hang out all tomorrow as well.
Yeah, that's all good.
Are you sure?
Yeah. Come, do your hug.
Oh, you're done.
Huh? Like it's calm. Like I need some time to myself though. Truthfully, that's just
really.
I'm one of them kind of guys. Yeah.
Don't feel a certain way
Nah, it's all
about
good.
me. Don't think that it doesn't mean.
No, it's all good. It's all good.
What the hell are you on, dude?
Say it's man, bro. Done with this bullshit, man. It's fucking bollocks, bro. What the fuck?
Simba! Guys, obviously I just had a convo with him, but that was like really abrupt.
Like who?
Simba.
She said no. Yeah, she said no.
You shot your shot feeling up?
Yeah, and now I'm gonna look like a fucking idiot, go talk to Angie and that.
I do think it's like a thing where he's like, oh, he thought that I was going to say yes. And he would have felt better about the situation, but I've just said no, and it doesn't feel right. I'm not going to do it. And then he's got up.
I'm fucked now, man. So fucked.
You have made your bed, you need to lie in it.
Oh my fucking days.
I'm just pissed off now. Why did you ask me that? Now I'm just fucking pissed off.
There's no way, stay awake, so shutting it down.
They don't even know what they want, man.
You turn your back on me, keep telling me lies.
Okay, so one thing that you have to keep in mind, okay? Before I say what I'm going to say, I'm a black person. I don't really like to bring race into things because I think a lot of black people just automatically go to that. You know, when a topic like this comes up, it's hard for black people to not see the situations of, you know, the darker skinned woman versus the lighter skinned woman, and whichever way the male is going to choose. It's always a reoccurring theme, especially with someone like me who grew up in the 90s, who suffered with crazy colorism, okay? I didn't grow up with racism. Yeah, other races didn't really say anything derogatory or disrespectful to me growing up. I grew up in a melting pot of whites, blacks, Asians, you know, indifferent, whatever. But what I did deal with is the whole colorism thing. You know, your skin's too dark. Yeah, don't let the ring light fool you. I'm a dark-skinned black man, super dark. And I was ridiculed for that. You know, I watched women basically just overlook me for lighter skinned men. I never cried, I never complained. I just accepted it for what it was. You know, light skinned dudes were the in thing, you know. Now, as I've got older, scenarios have changed. Social media came along. Social media shown men that look like me with dark skin in a positive, more desirable limelight. So it's now become a bit level, you know? It used to be light-skinned dudes here, dark-skinned dudes there. Now it's kind of done this because we can self-promote, you know? However, that's based on men, you know? When it comes to women, still a bit of a hurdle for them, you know, when it comes to, in regards to dark-skinned women. And I've always said, like, dark-skinned women shouldn't be going on these shows. You're not really wanted and you're just there to fill a quota. However, if you're not there, it's going to look bad. Because bear in mind, I believe Love Island, probably was it like the first 4 seasons? There wasn't a dark-skinned person in any of it. It was just white and then like these ambiguous looking people. Like, and the only time a dark-skinned person was put in is once people started to complain on social media that there was no representation. The first dark-skinned black man that went in there was Marcel Somerville. And he was basically mocked in there. Like, the girls didn't want him, you know? And then, like, I think it was a Liverpool girl at the time who no one else wanted ended up getting with him. So 2 people that weren't wanted ended up getting together. And it was just kind of like awkward. And then they started to bring more representation in. Certain black women weren't getting chosen. And then eventually it got a little bit better with, what's he called? Ovi? I think he was like desired by pretty much the whole planet, you know, or whoever watched the show. And then it got a bit better, more representation, but there's always this reoccurring theme, especially when it comes to dark-skinned black women, like no gimmicks, no tricks, dark-skinned black women, that they're not going to be able to compete with these lighter-skinned women. They're not. And here's just an example of it where you've got this dark-skinned black man where the producers are blatantly bringing these dark-skinned men in to basically get with the dark-skinned women, because if you just let it go wild, a lot of these dark-skinned women are not going to be chosen. And that's not to say they're not pretty. Yeah, me, I'm an open book. I don't have a preference on skin tones. These black women are pretty, but they're always going to be struggling against that light skin and white woman, because if you live in the West, like a lot of us, we grew up watching the television, and I'm talking before social media was here. A lot of Hollywood, which was pretty much, they dictated what we saw on the television. Yeah, and then Britain basically just followed what the Americans shown. Television was overwhelmingly celebrating white men and white women. So black people, we grew up finding, like, if we're going to be honest, you know, the overwhelming amount of British children or westernized black children, we desired other races more than we desired our own, because of what we saw other races being celebrated as in particularly white people. We saw them as the superheroes. We saw the women as the damsel in distress that the white savior went and saved. We watched them constantly in adverts. We watched them through TV shows and cartoons, and they were always the number one scenario. And I understand if you've got a white producer and white designer and stuff like that, they're going to make, you know, shows in their image. You know, I get it. I've not got an issue with that. But what happens is it then brings a natural insecurity to other races when they don't really see each other. And in my situation, when I went to school, I got a load of abuse for being dark, and this was being given to me by other dark-skinned people. It wasn't white people. It was dark-skinned people telling me I was ugly because my skin was dark. It never made sense, but as a kid, you couldn't really tackle it because you're a child. You don't really know how to say or convey, well, you're dark-skinned yourself, you idiot. You never really knew how to deal with those situations. But a lot of that, I'm not even trying to like get at the people who said it to me. I kind of understand why they were saying it, because when they'd go home and turn on the telly, there was nothing really to show us in a sexy limelight. You know, it wasn't until I got a little bit older, and then I remember when digital television came along. I'm showing my age now. You know, we went from normal telly, just pretty much showing predominantly white people, and then digital television came along, and then there was channels like NTV Base, which then showed me that there's dark-skinned people that were suave, sexy, you know? And then I grew up watching like black male singers and black female singers, which kind of built my self-confidence, you know? Tank, Tyrese, Donnell Jones, Musique, Usher, Avant, Carl Thomas, you know, Joe, R. Kelly, as controversial as he is, Brian McKnight, like, and then you've got the females, Brandy, Monica, Mary J. Blige, Whitney Houston, you know, Mariah Carey, Toni Braxton, Floetry, SWV. I started to see imagery of what I could potentially be. Yes, it was in the American image, but nevertheless, these were people that looked like me and looked great. But at the same time, just because I watched that and started to love this skin, it didn't necessarily mean other dark-skinned people did. So even though social media came along and it's now made things more even, whether that's through people arguing to get more representation of other races of people onto these predominantly white shows, because Love Island was never really designed for people that look like me to be on it. I'm not knocking them. It's just we know the image that people watch that show for. For example, if every person was black on Love Island, they did a season where everybody was black, the show wouldn't get watched like that. But there was 4 seasons when everybody was pretty much white, and all these people watched it. It became popular. People ain't trying to see us like that. You know, 1 or 2 of us, but I've always known in Britain, we're always, you know, the 2 out of the 10 people, you know. But populace-wise, that makes sense. But we're always that person where it's like, oh, you know, we're not racist. We've got a black person in there. It's like they put 1 or 2 of us in just to show that they're not racist, but they're not actually putting the dark-skinned black person in there authentically. Like they've just thrown someone in there that they know they can clear off in a couple of episodes. So when you've got this woman called Angelica, right? And I'm not even going to front like I watch Love Island like that. I stopped watching it years ago. But I've come across this scenario where you've got this woman who's dating this black guy called Simba, and he's basically put her on the back burner, you know, setting boundaries and, you know, don't do this and don't do that. However, when the light-skinned woman came along, yeah, she's like racially ambiguous. I'm not sure if she's white or Italian, whatever, called Mica. All of those boundaries went out the window. So he set boundaries for the dark-skinned woman, but the lighter-skinned female, he didn't set these boundaries. And what happens is, whether people want to admit this or not, the viewers on the outside, especially black women, they're watching this and they're saying to themselves, oh, this again, you know? And then what it's doing is it's messing with those set black women's self-esteem. They have to sit there and look at themselves like, we're not being desired yet again. Which is nobody's fault. You only like who you like. Excuse me, you can't really change what you're into. But again, this is more to do of not really getting at Simba, but more to do with how we've been raised growing up in the UK. Most people of color, especially black men, overwhelmingly desire women with lighter skin tones because of how we've been conditioned to see women growing up on the television screen. So before social media was here, our original social media was the television. Mainstream media was the original television. Whatever was popping on the television, that's what we liked. And it was overwhelmingly white women. When I grew up, my ideal woman was Britney Spears. Do you want to know why? Because when I turned on the television, that was the only girl I saw. They promoted her when she first came out in that I Must Confess I Still Believe song, and she's there in a school uniform. I was still in school. You're promoting this woman to me, but there was no dark-skinned black equivalent that you were promoting to me. It's not until I got older when I started watching shows like Moesha, you know, shows that were on digital television, which could show me images of myself. But let me get back to the Angelica, Simba, and Mica situation. Got this dark-skinned dude where he could get with the dark-skinned woman and it could raise a load of self-esteem of black women that are watching it, because that's what these shows do. People live vicariously through these shows. They watch them and they want to see images of themselves do well. So if the show's just all white people, black women ain't going to really want to watch it because they can't relate. There's no one in there that looks like them. If it's just all black people, white people ain't going to really want to watch it because they can't relate. There's nobody in there like them. So everybody wants an imagery of themselves to be in a show and do well. We don't want to see the imagery of ourselves be humiliated. You know, when Marcel was in there, he's the first ever dark-skinned guy to ever be on that show. I think it was season 5 or something. He was getting humiliated, and it just wasn't a good look. I didn't sit there and get in my feelings. I'm a grown-ass man, but I didn't rate it because it's like, you're the one dark-skinned brother in there. Yeah. In real life, you represent me, my dog, and when I'm out, I do quite well. Not to sell it or sound arrogant. I've done quite well. I'm a 6'2" black man, so you kind of get privileges for being tall, and you know. But he went in there and struggled, so it made guys look like me not the best for that time period. However, Ovi went in there, and then for some reason, I now become the star of the show. I'm going on holiday, and girls are calling me Ovi. I look nothing like Ovi, but it's all about on who's on the screen and who's being treated well versus who's being treated unwell. So when black women are sat there watching this show and seeing Angelina get the back foot of a black man, and he's given her all the 3rd degree, all these excuses, but then the light-skinned girl ain't getting these excuses, it then makes this dynamic of making black women at home feel undesirable. Now, a lot of black women will sit there and be like, what are you talking about? You're talking rubbish. We don't care. Yeah, you can try and save face, but we all know deep down, human beings invest in things that we can see ourselves in. We watch these shows for relativity. Yeah? If a black dude, dark skin like me, that looks like me, 6'2", muscles, walks in and he's just racking up all the girls, that's going to make me psychologically feel good inside because I'm like, okay, my man's holding it down. But if he goes in there and none of the girls want him and he's just being humiliated, it's just going to make me think, yo, you're letting the side down. What I just stated to you then, white guys feel the same way. They might not explain it the way I've said it. White women feel the same way. Black women feel the same way. Heck, Indians, Asians, whatever, who go in there. We like seeing representations of ourselves. So all this does is kind of show you that, I'm going to bring it all home now. It just shows you that when it comes down to it, black women are still not desired on these shows the same way white women are. And a lot of it is down to westernized conditioning and how Hollywood has portrayed black people on the stage. You know, I've always said we've only been used. I remember saying this when I was as a kid. Why are we only being shown when we're either singing, rapping, or dancing? That's how it felt as a kid. Times have changed now. We get used a lot more. But I assessed this as a young lad. The only time you really saw a black person was when you were singing, rapping, or dancing, playing a sport, or there was a conversation regarding race, and then the news would get a black person on a panel. Outside of that, we were never really shown. A few Denzel Washington and Wesley Snipes films, okay, and the odd Will Smith film, but outside of that, we weren't really shown. We were only shown if you had a talent. You know, we weren't shown just for the sake of being there, but white people were shown just for the sake of being there. They were shown when they were dancing, when they were singing, when they were performing sports, and just being there. Yeah, and the key is to just kind of just be there. So I get it. They're always going to have to include now. The show's always going to have racial representation of multiple races going forward. The issue is you're always going to get this scenario, especially in the West, where the black man, 8 times out of 10, is always going to desire that lighter skin tone because he's been conditioned to believe that's more beautiful. You know? Not everybody's like me who doesn't find a preference in the skin tone, but finds a preference within the skin tones. So me, there's a certain type of black woman I like, a certain type of white woman I like, a certain type of Indian woman I like, there's always a certain type of woman I like, but there's never going to be where I'm like, I like the lighter skin more than the darker skin, and I'm avoiding, nah. she's pretty. I'ma lick it the same way. Just keeping it real with you. But there has been times when I found the lighter skinned woman more desirable than the darker skinned woman when I've been out. There's times when I found a darker skinned woman more desirable than the lighter skinned woman, but the darker skinned woman didn't want me. She wanted the white man or the mixed man. It can vary with me, but I get it. When you've seen it on the main stage and the black woman is there's a reoccurring theme. She's not wanted because the black man wants the white woman or the light-skinned woman. It's messing with black women's self-esteem. And how do you fix it? I don't know how you fix it, because you can tell the producers are trying to get black men in there. They would have asked him, what's your preference? Oh, you only like light-skinned women? Forget you. What's your preference, dark-skinned black man? Oh, you only like white women? Forget you. What's your preference? Oh, you like dark-skinned black women? Great. We're going to use you for the show, and we've got a dark-skinned black woman for you. But then when the guy gets in, he's going astray, ruining the rotation of how the show's structured, because these shows are all structured. People have come off the show, done interviews telling you that they tell you who you can date and who you can't. We know it's all a front, you know. And if you go out of that, you know, they end up getting you off the show. You end up suddenly you're evicted. But it's a conversation that needs to really be had, and how it gets changed. We just have to see. We just have to see. You can't force a person to not desire who they desire. However, it's very rare when you see the guy with the light-skinned girl and he drops the light-skinned girl for the dark-skinned girl. It's not a thing. You don't really see it. And if you saw it more, then maybe people wouldn't be so outraged socially when an Angelica gets thrown away for a Mica. You know? Angelica being a dark-skinned girl and Mica being a light-skinned girl. But I've said everything I need to say. Hopefully I've explained that enough. You know? Yeah. See you in the next one.